Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Ramblings from Two Meddling Kids. I'm Edward Hunt, joined by my fellow spy,
Mike Cunningham.
and we are the Meddling Kids. And we'd like to review movies. For this week, we'll be reviewing Argylle. For those of you joining for the first time, welcome. It's great to have you here. For those of you who have come back, kudos. Good for you. We will never spoil anything in the movie for the first, let's call it 5-10 minutes. We'll give a spoiler-free review from 0 to 5. Then we'll give you some background, and then we'll get into our spoiler section where we really talk through the movie, break down some scenes, say things we liked and disliked, and go from there. But again, if you haven't seen Argylle yet, don't worry. We're not going to spoil anything yet. All right, Mike, 0 to 5, Argylle, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, let's hear it.
I'm going to give this one a 2.
Okay.
I couldn't decide between a 2 or 2.5, but it was just like I had very high hopes for this film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of the director. So he's done prior, like The Kingsman, which was like a kind of a sleeper hit and something I really enjoyed, and a twist on the James Bond story. He did Kick-Ass. Apologies.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, and then he restarted the X-Men franchise. Like, so he did X-Men First Class and like the next one. So I've been a big fan of his for a while. So like I was excited for this one. It looked really stylish. And like starring Henry Cavill, it reminded me of like the Man from U.N.C.L.E. So I was like, you're kind of getting this like kind of spy caper with the twist. So like from the trailers and the marketing, it looked like, another very similar in the route of Matthew Vaughn, but like, I don't know, I think the second and third acts of this film just kind of just flounder. And like, since it, like I said, this is spoiler free, so it was like, I'm not going to give anything away, but it was like, whatever was marketed is not what this movie is.
No.
And that can be very, very frustrating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially like if you have an expectation. I think movies that suffer from that, like recently, like the Mean Girls movie that just came out this year, right? Or like, not a lot of people knew that it was like based on the Broadway show and not a remake of the original. So like going in, hearing the musical, like really threw them off. And like, like it's the funniest shit. Like there was a TikTok I saw where like the girl starts singing in the movie and the entire theater goes, "Oh!" And it was just like, but that's because of the marketing. You didn't market this as a musical, so like you're throwing the audience off, right?
Yeah.
And so like I think that's the same thing with this film. Like it marketed it as one thing, and then it was like it kind of flipped it, which was like to me a little bit frustrating. But I got over it, just because of the fact that I paid 53 cents for this, like hard American dollars.
We're professionals now. We've been doing this for a while.
Oh, so yeah, that too. But yeah, so like I don't know, it fucked up. My expectations weren't met. But once I got over that, it was just like I just really didn't enjoy this movie. I couldn't decide the tone of it. It seemed like all over the place. Like it wanted to be silly and campy, but also serious.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like because it's a spy film, like there's always a hint of like double crosses and plot twists and all these different things. And it was like after a while, it was just like, all right, like that's enough twist. Like we get it. You're like even that, like some of the twists that came along, it was just like very like I don't know. They played their hand a little like like when you knew it was coming, and it was just like this is not a twist. Like I expected this. Like you really didn't. Whatever you were trying to do, you did not accomplish. So, I mean, I did have a bit of fun with it. Like, I love Sam Rockwell. Like, he is one of my favorite, like, actors. And it's crazy how, like, he has such a long history, a film history. But I feel like so many people don't know him. But it was, like, actors. Like, he's your favorite actor's favorite actor type of guy. Like, he was in fucking The Green Mile. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really enjoy Sam Rockwell. So like, I think that's what helped me through this film a lot. But it was like, for the most part, it was just very disappointing. So I'm going to give it a 2. Like I said, originally I was thinking a 2.5 because at points I did have fun. But I think a lot of this movie was just like, it just failed for me. So I'm going to give it a 2 for now.
Cool. All right. So a 2 out of 5 for Mike for Argylle. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 2.5. I And like, it's funny actually. I was watching a YouTube video, so I saw an ad for this movie literally like right before we hopped on here, and they are still marketing it wrong. Like, and I can't say wrong. They're marketing it in a way to try and get as many people there because they're really focusing on Dua Lipa and Henry Cavill, and like, oh, they're in this, and they are in it for sure. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, the first half of this movie I enjoyed, I think. For the most part, I was like, okay, cool, I can get behind this. I wasn't, some of the twists, there are a bunch of twists, so I could get behind some of those. But man, the ending, the third act, I was just like, dude, all right, just keep it going a little bit quicker.
This runtime really was pushing it.
Yeah,
I'm being really honest. Like we've talked about this before. I don't know if I just have a very short attention span because of society and how we are with like TikToks and
TikToks and social medias.
Things being very instant. But it was just like I'm starting to notice, and like I said, I can't tell if it's just like a short attention span or maybe just this runtime is too long. But I'm really starting to notice where it's like this movie is kind of dragging. Like. I don't know what it is. Because it was like I said, I could watch Shawshank Redemption and be fine. That's a 3-hour movie. All cool. Like so, but you have to like justify your runtime. If I'm starting to feel it, like it's not just like sorry, I cut you off.
No, 100%. No, I agree. And like I think you feel it. And I think a great thing, and I'm not trying to throw too much shade or anything, or like I can't make a movie. I'm not a director. I know it's very hard, but like you feel it in this because it's not as good of a movie. Like you said, Shawshank Redemption, or you look at great movies that are 2.5, 3 hours long. You're like, no, it makes sense. This movie is this long, but so much of that final stuff could have been cut out. So much of like, they tried, like there was a couple twists in the beginning. I was like, cool, here, that's a good twist. Oh, that was a good twist. I like that twist. And then they're like, twist, 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 twist. And I was like, all right, that's
I'm a pretzel already. Relax. Jesus
man, you don't need to do that. Like they're trying to stay edgy. I'm like, okay, some of the scenes dragged on where I'm like, there's an ice skating scene later without spoiling anything. That I was
that's what I'm saying. I feel like the latter portion of this film, it was silly, but it was like, it wasn't we're having fun, like the audience.
Yeah.
We're having fun. It was just like, are you
I'm like,
fucking yes. I'm like, fucking with me right now?
Another thing, like there was the one right before it, which I was kind of cool with, even though that dragged on a little bit, the dancing. And I was like, okay. Yeah.
That's a, I don't know, what is it? Easter egg to the first Kingsman movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Because in that movie, like in the final like battle scene, when people's heads are exploding, you don't like. I think they kept it PG or whatever, so it's just like it's very smoke and it's very colorful.
Fair.
Matthew Vaughn really fucks with his colors, so it's like that was a tribute to that. But it was just like I'm not feeling it, baby.
No, and that's the thing. So Matthew Vaughn, I mean, so he did Kick-Ass and he did The Kingsman. So he's done a lot of Mark Millar. So Mark Millar is a comic author that I love. Okay. He did Mark Millar wrote Wanted, Kick-Ass, The Kingsman, whole bunch of X-Men. Really? Yeah, wow. He wrote a lot. Yeah. So it's phenomenal comics. And don't get me wrong, the comics are very different from the movies, especially the Wanted comic is so different from the movie. They're both really good in their own right. One, some people you could say Mark Millar is kind of edgelordy, I guess, but I grew up reading him. I always will have a fond place in my heart. Though reading some of the Wanted, you're like, oh, okay. But either way, so Matthew Vaughn's done a lot of these movies that have had that. So his use of color was interesting, but other times with the color, I was like, I don't care about this color right now. There was a one scene, I'll talk about that later. It was a hospital scene when they were like brainwashing. I was like, I don't care about the color because it was like, it's black and white except for these color pops, but there was no reason to have these color pops. So it felt like wasted to me. So there was, and you could say maybe that was like a little of an Easter egg to like Sin City by like, Frank Miller, and like to have the black and white.
I guess speaking of fucking Zack Snyder, I will never forgive that man for fucking slow motion. There was slow motion in this movie. I'm just like, really now?
Yeah,
I think that's what extended the runtime.
For sure.
Motion. Jesus fucking Christ!
But yeah, as a whole, like I enjoyed the first part of this movie, and I was like, I enjoyed some of the twists that came along with that I thought were interesting. Once you hit that second half, I was like, oh man, now you're just trying too hard and doing too much weird stuff, and you're trying to be campy, and like the tones didn't necessarily match, and I hated the ending. Like the very last part, when all of a sudden they have this ending thing for a tie-in, I was like, nope, that's stupid as shit. I hate that. And like without spoiling anything, I was like, absolutely.
What about the post credit or like
the mid credit? Yeah. So like when she's chilling there, and then he's like, "You might have questions for me." I was like, "No, she shouldn't. That's so stupid. That goes against everything we fucking talked about this entire movie. That makes no sense. I hate this right now. Like, no."
Yeah.
And so now there's going to be whatever. So 2.5 for me, because the first half I was like, okay. Second half, it really fell flat. I wouldn't be surprised if mine goes down a little bit towards while we talk about the movie, but that's coming from me, y'all. Should you see it anyway? Mike, what do you think?
That's a little tough. In these trying times and inflation.
Yeah, well, I mean, shit.
I would say yes. Like I said, I love Sam Rockwell's performance.
Sure. Yes, he was great.
And I think there were moments I did have fun, but I think it was really relegated to that first half or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I say thirds because usually that's how the stories are.
Sure.
Written in thirds usually. But yeah, I think that first part of the film I did enjoy, and there were parts where I did have a lot of fun. So like I said, I think that's the beauty of film, right? It was just like there's no film that's entirely bad. We've gone through like the ranking system. It's like there's very few films that are just like, oh, this is just unwatchable, this is trash. Like there's always some shining light to it, or So like this one definitely has that. It has Henry Cavill in it. He's gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that haircut though, that was like if
anyone else, oh my God, when I said, how do you make that man unhandsome? What are you doing?
And like that's the thing. If anyone else had that haircut, oh my God, no way. Henry Cavill is like one of the only men who can have it, and it's like it doesn't look good, but it doesn't look awful.
He's another one like most football players that look weird in a suit because he's too fucking big.
Yeah.
And it was like, I couldn't tell if it was padded, but it was like, bro, either get a better tailor or just don't wear suits. I don't.
Yeah.
There was a movie, what is it? The Mission Impossible movie where he like shook off his arms and his shirt cracked. Like, he's a very big man.
Yeah.
Just don't put a blazer on him. Okay, it's impossible. The same way like John Cena doesn't like wearing pants because his calves are too big.
I feel that. When you put on a pair of jeans, I'm like trying to yank it over my calf. I get that, but yeah. It's a very fun fact. A brief picture into my life. It's kind of hard to sexually take off your pants when like it's trapped on your calf, and you're like, get. So that's what you get over here, y'all. But so maybe see it. There's definitely some positives of it.
I think it's definitely one that you can wait for to rent it or stream it. I guess I don't. If that's where we're going with it's not something you need to run to the theaters to see.
Yeah, I agree with that one right there.
Also, because of the fact that like last year we got a very similar movie to this. It was The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Daniel Radcliffe and Channing Tatum. Like the same shit where like some writer wrote something very similar in real life, so they tried to capture it. It was the same fucking shit.
Yeah. So there you have it. But let's get some background on this movie now. So we know a few things, but what else we got?
All right. So Argylle was released on February 2nd, 2024. The runtime is 2 hours and 19 minutes. Jesus Christ. The budget was $200 million. It's one of those things like I walked out of that movie and I was just like, they need to stop giving this man this much money. Like, need to cut this fucking budget.
Yeah.
We don't know the box office yet. I think it's projected to make 15 to 20 million in its first weekend, which is abysmal based on that fucking budget.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Rough. Yeah.
I think it might be one of those where it's like they might get a lot of international money because it is based in London, So maybe the international money will save it, but I don't really see it, especially with those opening weekend projections. The Rotten Tomatoes score, when I checked on Friday, because the movie had just come out, we really didn't have any, but it was like at a 37 for critics. Nothing for actually, let me see if they updated it here.
Sure.
I don't think so. Yeah, it's still. Oh, it's 35. Sorry.
There you go. Yeah.
Nothing for the audience. I don't. But once again, it might be one of those like this might be the ratio between critics and audience might be skewed just because of the fact that people really love Henry Cavill. Like sometimes like fans of things really just inflate the scores. But as of right now, it's 35% for critics.
Gotcha.
The genre is action spy thriller. It was directed by Matthew Vaughn, as we said before. He's directed Layered Cake, the Kick-Ass movie, X-Men First Class, the Kingsman series. And it's starring the cast. We have Henry Cavill as Argylle, Bryce Dallas Howard as Ellie, Sam Rockwell as Aiden, Bryan Cranston as Ritter, Samuel L. Jackson as Alfred, Catherine O'Hara as Ruth, Dua Lipa as Lagrange, Ariana DeBose as Kira, John Cena as Wyatt, and Sophia Botella as the Keeper. And then the tagline is, "Once you know the secret, don't let the cat out of the bag." I was so mad writing that because it was like it was so long.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus fucking Christ! And then we got into this whole thing where just like there was like movie posters like back in the day where like the tagline was a full paragraph. It was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
The tagline should be quick. Like, I was like, how the fuck is your tagline a full page? What are you doing? Who wrote this?
Oh Lord!
But also, there was another tagline I saw, and it's in the movie constantly. It's the bigger the spy, the bigger the secret, or something like that.
The bigger the lie, the bigger the spy, or maybe it's the better the spy, the bigger the lie. But yeah, something along those lines.
That,
yeah.
I also saw that as a tagline as well, and that's the background info that I have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. All right, y'all. Now we're about to start getting into our spoiler section. So if you really want to see the movie after our glowing reviews, pause and go check it out. Or keep hanging out. Just either way, make sure you come back and finish the episode. Before we get into our spoilers, though, a quick word from our sponsors. Hey, what's going on? That's me. Hi, I'm Edward Hunt. I'm a member of the Just Be team of Compass. We're all about finding where you're meant to be. We also do little fun things like for some of our clients, we brewed just beer for them, which was kind of a fun little thing. So that's gifts coming out to people. Mike, you're not a client yet, but I'll still probably give you one. Don't worry. But yeah, so again, we're all about finding where you're meant to be, but it's even more than that too. Really, my biggest goal is to be a resource for anything you have home related. So if you have any projects coming up, need a contractor, a handyman, or a roofer, please feel free to reach out. I can connect you with some great people that have done amazing work for my clients. Also, too, if you need like a lender so you can figure out a refinance or a HELOC, I have great connections for you there. And then obviously, if you want any advice on the market, I can help you out with that too. Also, a great thing about Compass is we're a nationwide brokerage. So no matter where you are in America, I can find you a real estate expert that will find you the perfect home or help you sell a home for something different. So feel free, even if you live in, let's say, Arkansas or Arizona, guys, A words, you can feel free to reach out to us and I will connect you with a phenomenal agent out there. Also, Edward Hunt of Hunt Comics. I have Evil is a Weapon issue 1 up for free on Global Comics. And I have Instagram, hunt.comics, and it's on Amazon too. Would love for you all to check that out. All right, now let's get into it. Argylle. So it's a movie about sweaters. So we start in a sweater factory, I'm pretty sure, right?
So we start in a very nice, like, I guess, lounge or a club. Excuse me. And we meet Lagrange or whatever her name is. Yeah. Played by Dua Lipa. I don't listen to a lot of Dua Lipa's music, but I might start because I have a crush on this woman now.
Oh, dude. So for the record, Felicia, she likes Dua Lipa a lot. I've listened to a lot of Dua Lipa with her. She is a rock solid musician. I would totally be down to see her live. And it's as she's steadily been in more and more movies. I think
she was in Barbie.
Yeah. I was thinking one thing too. Dua Lipa, I think at first, I think she was a better musician than stage presence when she first started. I think that was like, but it seems her music has stayed just as good, and she's gotten even better and better at her stage presence and like kind of having that like charismatic approach. So she's just becoming like fully like a star, right? Like, which is really cool to see, and I'm a big fan. So Dua Lipa, if you're listening.
But yeah, so she plays Lagrange. She's sitting in a club, and Argylle comes up to her. He gets a drink, and he comes up to her, and like initially, like her bodyguard, like kind of pushes him away, but like they make eye contact. She stands up and they start dancing. And They start dancing. They do what is it? What was the dance move? The whirly durly or some shit like that.
Yeah, we're like the pickup on like
Yeah,
on the
but all
floor.
it was like literally he put her crotch in his face and spun her around, and I was just like, in public, sir.
I'm like, hey, that's the move. All right, there you go.
But yeah, so like they're dancing and whatever, and then like I think she whispers in her ear. She was like, if basically, this would have been great if you weren't a spy.
If you
And,
weren't
like,
a
so she,
spy here to get me, yeah.
so she knows who he is, and then she snaps her finger, and everybody in the club kind of like aims a gun at him.
Mm-hmm.
And she walks away, and like so he one of the henchmen goes, any last words? And he says, in his earpiece, he was like, maybe from Kira, who was like the hacker or whatever.
Yeah.
And like Kira sets off like I guess the sprinkler system or something like that with like smoke. So like the entire room is flooded with smoke, and like he makes it out of a side door.
Yeah,
and
then
then
the beginning of this entire movie just reads like super cheesy spy. You know, like from like the dance moves, from how he somehow escaped from that. It's all like it's James Bond to the cheesiest level possible, which is what they're going for in a good way. So that's why I was still for it.
And I think, I was fine with it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm fine with this because I'm like, this is what they want. So yeah,
but yeah, so he makes it out of the club, and he's Kira pulls up in the car like to get away. And before he can get into the car, Legrand is sitting on a motorcycle, and she fires like a gun at them or whatever. And it was like, this is when I literally leaned over to Natalie and I said, I think I need to find a woman that wants to shoot me. Like, I got all the wrong messages from this one scene.
You're like, yep, that's the one for me. That makes sense.
It was like the same way. Like, it happened 2 other times. It was like when I was watching Black Panther. And the Dora Milaje were like fighting, and I was just like, do I need to find a woman that should beat me up? Like, this is
they just can do it. They don't necessarily.
And then again in The Flash, watching Supergirl fight, and I was just like, I think I need to find a woman that wants to beat me up.
Again, not necessarily that they will do it, but that they can do it.
I just want a woman to just hit me up.
Just whenever you get a little too mouthy, just a little check, and you're like, oh, you're right.
You know I get lippy.
Exactly. That's on me. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. You know, that's on me. I get that.
Oh God. But anyway, sorry. A slight tangent, unnecessary. But yeah, so Legrand fires at the Jeep, and then she drives away on her motorcycle. And then Argylle notices that Kira got hit, and he wants to wait with her for the medevac to come or whatever to make sure she's okay. But Fowler, their boss or whatever, is like, no, Legrand is a target. We can't let her escape. And so like he he looks over at the other cars available, and I think he basically picks a fucking golf cart. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah.
And then he starts driving, like chasing after her. And then like also he gets in contact with Wyatt, is another agent working there or whatever, played by John Cena. And so like this chase like through the city, I think they're in God damn it, where were
Greece. They're in
Greece. Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
they were
the one with all the blue buildings in Greece. That's a special city on the coast. I think it starts with an M, but I'm blanking on it. But yes,
so they're in Greece. But what was funny to me is like he's driving over buildings and stuff like that, and he is just tearing down there. And I'm just like, how shitty? No disrespect to Greece, but how shitty is your architecture if the golf cart is doing all this goddamn damage,
destroying everything?
It was like I can understand like in fucking Bad Boys 2, fucking Will Smith is driving through Cuba with a fucking Hummer tearing shit up. Yeah. That makes sense.
It's a Hummer.
This motherfucker got a goddamn fucking Ford Focus.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the chase, like he misses her. Like Argylle misses catching up with her. Wyatt is able to secure. He like literally just snatches her off her motorcycle.
Drinking some coffee, she drives by, just yoink, gotcha.
And so they're sitting there at this cafe. Wyatt has a pistol aimed at Lagrange, and they're just questioning her for information. And like she's just saying like we work for the same person or whatever. And then like she unlocks her phone so they can get the information. And while they're distracted, she the necklace she's wearing, like she puts out like I guess some type of poison, and she ingests it and she dies, whatever. Once again, love Dua Lipa. Not all actors have good dying
Yeah.
dying
she
scenes.
she hit that table with a thud. She was
Hard as shit. It reminded me of fucking homegirl from The Dark Knight Rises when Talia al Ghul died,
yeah.
and it's like that's the take we gonna use.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
not gonna.
that's the one. No,
All
she
right.
collapses.
I guess we are losing daylight. Fine, whatever. And
Table shook a
so
little bit. I was worried she was going to swell. Like it was like she bruised her face.
I
I
was
mean,
like,
come on.
you're gonna have a bruise. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna want to get ice on that.
Yeah.
But they realized that Fowler was the one that kind of outed them, and like the what is it? The division. I think that's what they called it, right?
I think it was the directorate in the
The
book.
directorate. Sorry,
It's the directorate now. Yeah.
yeah. But whatever agency they work for has been compromised, and Fowler is like he was working with Lagrange as an arms dealer or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and so now they realize like that they can't trust anyone, just themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we pan out and we see that this is all Elly reading her book, or like it's the book 4 in a series with the main character of Argylle.
Yeah.
And what was funny to me, and it was like I haven't been to a book reading because I really don't give a fuck about books like that. Like I just don't. But do they read a whole fucking book? Because it was like this is the second movie I've seen in the past 6 months, not the past year. Sorry, where like they're at a book reading and they're reading the final page of the book. I was like, is that how? I thought maybe a chapter. Maybe.
I can't speak. I've only been to one book reading that I think, at least, and that was Darren Shan, phenomenal author. He wrote The Vampire's Assistant, Lord Lost, and a bunch of other great series when I was growing up. And he read the first chapter of one of his books.
That's what I thought. Because it was like, did they sit there for 40 fucking hours?
Yeah, exactly. Just to read that entire book, that would be at least 12 to 13
Because Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumanium did the same shit, where like he was like reading the final page of his book, and I'm just like, how long have these people been held hostage?
I've been listening to more audiobooks. That's at least 13 hours. All right? If not more. Okay?
I can just see the author. You better sit down. I'm getting to a good part, you son of a bitch. Sit down.
That's a short book. If this is a 500-page book, that's 26 hours. All right?
I was just like, and that's what pisses me. Like, it's simple shit, right? Because oftentimes movies are my gateway into certain worlds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like that's why I love Creed, because it was like my look into boxing. So I would hope that there's some authenticity in what's happening. Right? Obviously it's a movie, so a movie got a movie. But it was like I'm hoping that they've done the research and stuff like that. So if that's my look into the literary world.
Yeah.
And it was like you can't get a book reading, right?
I'm like, what are you doing here, really? Yeah.
Because how the fuck you read the last page of the book and expect me to read it? Fuck you mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. But yeah, so like after she finishes reading the book, she starts taking questions, and I noticed that she was neglecting that right side. She did not.
Oh yeah, it was only left.
That's why I know I'm an asshole. I was just like, "You're not gonna pick nobody from the left side?"
I had that same exact thought. I was like, that nice lady has been raising her hand politely this entire time.
I'm just a very active viewer. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like certain people are asking about like when the next book's coming out. One guy asked her out. And stuff like that, and so we find out
like, are you a spy? How do you know all this information?
Yeah. And so one guy asked her out, and she was like, "Sadly, I do have a hot date tonight." Mm-hmm. And then she go home. I think they're in Colorado, so she goes home.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have a hot, but she's just like working on the 5th book because we do because like they're trying to figure out. And now that at the end of her 4th book, we find out that the directorate is compromised. And Argylle and Wyatt are kind of on the run. So like the 5th book is going to, answer those questions or whatever.
Yeah.
But she finishes writing the 5th book or whatever. We meet her cat, Alfie, and the weirdest CGI cat of all time. Just get a real cat. What are we doing? Like, animal rights, yada, yada, yada. But like, come on, what are we doing?
Just throw the real cat off the roof. What are you doing? Come on.
Is that why the budget was so inflated? Because you had to fucking CGI create this fucking cat?
Yeah, must have been.
But yeah, so she finishes writing book 5. She emails it to her mother, and I think this goes off to bed. And then the next morning, her mother like FaceTimes her and says that the book is good, but like at the end of the book, we find out that Argylle gets like kind of this master key or something like that, and he's going to be heading to London to take down the director. And her mom's like, that seems like a cop out. Like, so Elly called it a a cliffhanger or whatever, and her mom called it a cop out.
Oh. Sorry, I just had a realization of that.
You get it now?
I'm like, oh, no wonder she said that. Okay.
Yeah.
That seems like a totally fine place to leave a book off in a series. Yeah.
Bitch, it's 6 books. Shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
Want to make this money, baby.
Yeah. Got you. That makes a lot more sense for later.
Yeah. And so, like, her mom is like, you need to work on the ending. Maybe she said she offers to come up to see her, and they can spend the weekend really like just thinking, brainstorming. To get the book fixed or whatever. And then so Elly, thinks about it for a bit, and then she's like, maybe I'll just take the train to you instead. And so she packs up her cat, her laptop or whatever, and like she hops on a train to Chicago, I believe.
I think that's what I think that's what they said. Yeah. Chicago. And
so when she's sitting on the train, first a guy like comes up, and it was like because her mom was saying like, I know a nice guy for you, because she's single. Parents wanted to find somebody to give them grandkids, yada yada yada. Yeah. So as her mom, she's on the phone with her mom, and this guy comes up and says, "Is anybody sitting here?" And Elly says, "Yes." Yeah. And so the guy says, "That's too bad," and walks away. And then another guy just comes, and then just sits down on him. And this is Aiden or whatever. He has like a really scruffy beard and and long hair or whatever. And like, so Elly's just like, she tries to like get him to move, but he's like, if the guy comes back, I'll move, whatever.
Yeah. He just shows like, if he comes back, I'll move. Otherwise, this is my seat now. It's going to be great. Yeah.
He starts like, he says, he sees the cat or whatever, and he starts like banging on so the cat is in a little backpack.
Yeah.
With a little, like, there's a little window for like a bunch of air holes. Yeah. But it was just like, he starts banging on a little window. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, it's not the aquarium. You're not supposed to be.
He like stands up. He like sticks his gut in like her face and everything. Yeah. Like, putting stuff like the bags away. Yeah.
But yeah, so Elly's reading a book, and then like Aiden pulls out a book, and it's Argylle, I think, book 4.
Yeah.
And she realizes what book he has, so like she kind of covers her face. And so like they don't talk because like, they're both reading. And then you see that he's a little bit more than halfway through the book or whatever. And so like a few hours later on this trip, because it is for fucking Colorado to Chicago. It's a trek. At some point during the trip, he finishes book 4. And like, so he's looking at the back page, and he sees her picture. And he's like, "Holy shit, is this you?" So like, he's like, "I'm such a big fan. You're like a great writer, yada yada yada." And then she asked him what he does, and he says, "Oh, I'm in espionage."
Yeah.
And like, she laughs it off or whatever. She was just like, "Oh, you don't think I look like a spy?" And then, like you said, I think it's because of the fact that because of like Henry Cavill on that and like when we were reading in that first scene, it's very much like spies are your James Bond, like very suave. Like it's not, not real, right?
Yeah, they stand out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was saying that, a spy like that would stand out on a train. But like, if you look the way I do, like, you could go unseen. And then he says, now the next guy that comes up to you isn't going to be a true fan or whatever.
Yeah.
And she kind of shakes it off, and he just says, now when I put the gun in your lap, I'm going to need you to help me or something like that. He's like, I'm going to disarm him.
Yeah, when I break his wrists and the gun falls in your lap, I'm going to need you to like help me or whatever. Yeah.
And so shortly after, this guy, comes up and is like, "Oh, I'm such a huge fan. Can you sign my book?" And Aiden's like, "Really? We're going with
that's
this.
Right. We're going with. Huh, okay.
And then like the pen that he had, the fan has for her to sign, has like a little, like, I guess a knife on it, or like just a very sticky point.
Yeah. Well, and like you can see there's like some kind of poison or something like dripping from the tip.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
And so like Aiden disarms him, and then like you just see a whole, like, basically everybody in that car is a secret agent out to kill. Well, we don't know who they're out for, but it was like they're just out to get either Aiden or Elly.
Yeah.
And so like what's his name? Aiden starts fighting off all these guys, and it was, I think that's cool. Why I was saying, it was like every movie has its shining points, regardless of how how I feel about them. But it was just like a lot of these action scenes in this first half, or at least any action scene with Sam Rockwell, was really fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know if you've seen Mr. Right or whatever. It's him. It's Sam Rockwell and homegirl from God damn it. She was in Twilight. Anna Kendrick. She was Pitchfork.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But like he plays an assassin in that one
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, and it was just like a lot of his fight scene. He just loves to dance, so it's just like he was doing the same kind of like quick change moves with dancing in that movie that he was doing this. But anyway,
So,
so like
something with this scene that was really cool too, as like, or you might be about to say, is like when she like blink her eyes and it would be like Henry Cavill as well, like superimposed, and like this was so cool because if you think about it from like a movie making perspective, both Sam Rockwell as Aiden and Henry Cavill as Argylle had to do like the same moves on like the same guys, kind of somewhat, not obviously at the same time, but they had to like record everything with Sam Rockwell and record everything with Henry Cavill,
mirrored,
and then edit so it mirrored and looked. That was really cool. Like I thought this was a really interesting, fun scene. This is when I said the first half of this movie, I was like,
it's funny you said it was fun. To me, I was just like, it seemed like a bitch to record.
Oh no, I mean, well, yes, definitely a bitch to record.
I love how you're the shining light. I'm just sitting here like, I'm not doing this shit again.
Like I did it once. What do you want from me? I'm done.
Because it was like, it was a marvel to see, but it was just like to have to actually film it. No, fuck that. No.
It would be a pain in the ass. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it was interesting that you said that because like, yeah. So as Aiden is fighting off these men, Elly keeps flashing between seeing Argylle, Henry Cavill, and Aiden, right? So, like, yeah, from a filmmaking standpoint, it was cool. But I think from a storytelling perspective, I was like, is this bitch crazy? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it got a little...
And for me, it was like, I think it was interesting for that scene, but when it kept happening,
yeah,
I was like, is she having a mental... And then, I mean, she brings up, like, anxiety and stuff like that. So it was like, maybe that can try to answer for it until we get the, the actual answer later. But it was just like... It was kind of weird to me that's what she was seeing.
That 100%. That, and also the fact that what the movie became with the other twists meant that makes no sense. You know, like what that meant now makes no sense. Like just because you saw that.
I think from a visual perspective, it was cool to see, but it was like I think that's what's so fucking frustrating with so many movies and like things like that. It was just like, it's cool to put on screen, but it was like when you put this all together, does it make sense?
Yep.
And it was like the answer is, but it looked cool though. And it was like, oh,
this movie lost it on story. The movie looked cool stylistically with a lot of things, but then the story itself and tying that, you're like, now this story makes no sense. And that's why I hated the ending, which we'll get to in other parts, is like, this doesn't make sense now. Everything you've been setting and building, why now?
Even the post credits, and we'll talk about it, doesn't really. And I think that's going to be more frustrating because I think they're going to actually do that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a fight scene or whatever. Just throughout the train, and they're able to escape with a It reminded me of fucking Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so he has a parachute, so they get to the back of the train and they kind of parachute because they were going over a bridge. And they escape. I think Elly passes out and she wakes up in like a cabin, in a remote location. And this is where Aiden gives her like basically saying that the story that she's writing, she's getting like, and they mention it in the when at the book signing or whatever, where like a lot of the stuff that she wrote in her book came to like actually happened.
Yes.
So it's like how is this possible? So like Aiden starts telling her, it was just like the directorate that you write about in your book actually exists. They did go rogue.
Yeah.
Now I need your help to finish the story and find this master key or whatever. Like there was a hacker. Like everything that she wrote actually happened. Yeah, and that's why the directorate is coming after her. And he's there to kind of stop them and protect her. And at the same time, we get a flash of the actual directorate. It's led by Ritter, I believe. I said.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston's character.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston Ritter. And so like he's in his office and he's getting a report from one of his guys that they lost Elly on the train or whatever. And like so he's looking at this and he's in his office. There's like a fireplace and right above the fireplace is a picture and then like a shotgun named Clementine. Like it was like passed down from his dad and his grandfather or whatever. Yeah. And it's it was like named after his grandmother or some shit like that. And like, so he was basically giving this bad guy speech about like, he can't stand incompetence. and whatever. And like, so he loads the gun, loads the shotgun, aims it at the guy, and he's just like, but like he aims like he's gonna shoot, and then he just decides that he like puts it over his shoulder and then turns around and shoots the guy. It was like so fucking cool.
I loved it. I saw it come as soon as he put it over the shoulder, started turning. I was like, oh, now he's gonna get him. Like, it was such a great scene. Love to see it. That was fun. Yeah.
But basically, they're basically validating the fact that yes, they are the directorate and they are looking for Elly.
I think technically they're the division now, but yeah, because the division.
Okay, that's why I kept getting fucked up, right?
Yeah.
This is why I wasn't able to take notes in the film.
Yeah.
So like, this is something I would have noted to, actually. Yeah, but you're right. It's the division.
Yeah, the directorate is in the book. The division are the real people. But yeah, either way, it's the same. It's a shadowy spy organization that's trying to.
Okay, so I'll call it the division now.
The division now, though, is the real one. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So, listen, Aiden is basically telling her like he had a hacker like steal information from the like secret file from the master file. Jesus fucking Christ!
Yeah. It's a file. It's kind of like really important in charge. What's the word?
But yeah, so it reminds me of Dungeons and Dragons, the hither thither stick, and I was just like, oh, you're not fucking with me, please. What 7-year-old came up?
There you go.
Stop. Your writing partner can't be in the second grade, okay? But yeah, so they take a plane to London because like Aiden says that he went to meet the hacker because they decided on a price for like this file, and the hacker never showed up. So he needs Elly's help, like because he also, I think he intercepted the email that she sent to her mother with the book.
Yes,
and that's they kind of all did. The division did. Sam did. Sorry, not Sam. Aiden did as well.
Yeah.
But since she didn't answer the question on where the master file was, they're trying to get her to like write this book. Like, obviously, you've done the research. You know what you're doing. Like, how can we find this master file? So they go to London, and we find out that she's terrified of planes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so like she starts like hyperventilating, and then like. Aiden, like, I think he tells her just a stupid story, but it just distracts her, and she realized, she gets over it.
Which was good. It was a nice scene, good touching moment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so they go to the location where Aiden was supposed to meet the hacker, and like through some deduction, like finding satellites and stuff like that, they find the hacker's address.
Yeah.
So they go to his apartment. And they're looking, and it's pretty much empty. Like there's couch and like things like that, but it's fairly empty. Yeah. And as they're about to leave, because Elly like really wants to, she was like, I know I'm right. It has to be here. This has to be the place. And Aiden wants to leave, and as he's like walking, I think he like stomps on the floor, and he realizes that the floorboards are loose.
Yeah.
So like he pulls up a few floorboards, and he finds a briefcase, and in there he finds some money. A boat key and like something else. I can't remember what.
The notebook.
The notebook. And so that validates the fact that this is the hacker's apartment. Mm-hmm. But as they're trying to leave, the division shows up. Like some agents from the division show up. Yeah. And so they hide under the floorboards first, and then because of Elly has the cat Alfie. Yeah. The cat meows, giving away their location, and so we get another fight scene. And this one's like we get another one where just like she's flashing between seeing Aiden and Argylle. Yeah, and so he defeats the first wave, and it was like the guy the guy throws a bomb into like the hole where they were hiding, and Elly just throws it back. Yeah,
it's a flashbang or a stun grenade or whatever. Yeah,
it blows up in Aiden's face. So you see him flying back, and then Argylle and Aiden. It was a really cool thing. And then like they realize that he said Aiden tells her that they'll keep sending waves, right? And so I think they go to maybe they blew a hole into the next apartment. I assume. Is that what it was?
Yeah. They go into the next up. Yeah, they blow a hole into the next apartment, so they go there, and then that's when the next wave's coming. But the next wave's looking at the one door, not the door there.
Yeah, they're looking at So as they're in the hall, the next wave is in the hallway, about to breach the apartment door. This is a very funny scene where fucking Aiden is telling her, he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna throw this. smoke grenade, this stun grenade or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm gonna shoot a bunch of people. I need you to go behind me and crush their skulls.
Exactly. Just
And
stuff.
he was like, it's super easy. You twist and you stomp. You
Yeah,
twist.
you twist and stomp. Come on, it's just dance,
And so she was like, I can't do that over there.
And then he's even like, no, you can. The human skull is actually very brittle. It's totally fine. You can do this.
And this is one of those things. Was like I said, it was like the realism. I was just like, is that true?
I'm like,
I don't want to test it out.
So. Human skulls are pretty sturdy. I don't know.
And so like he throws the stun grenade down the hallway, stuns all these. Like I think it's a team of like 8 to 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so he goes through shooting different guys, and like so Ellie comes up to the first guy who he shot, and like she puts her foot over his head, and like but she can't bring herself to stomp. And then like by the time like she decides she's not going to do it, like Aiden's already disposed of
the other 10 dudes that are there. Yeah.
And it was so funny. He was like, "You have one job," like.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I figured he was already dead, and then the guy starts moving. So like
the guy starts lifting a gun to point at them.
Yeah. And so Aiden stomps on his head, and then like another wave comes, and then like but they're in the hallway now, so like they run to this emergency door and run to the roof.
Yeah.
And when they're on the roof, like they open up the door to the roof, and there's like I guess a bar like placed there, and like so Aiden like puts it over the door so like they can't get out, and he was like, that was convenient.
Yeah, right.
And at first I was just like, is this movie talking shit about itself? Like,
yes, because for a second I was like, is this also somehow in her mysterious author?
And I think that's what was fucking me up. It was like because she's an author.
Yeah.
If the twist was this was all a dream or a book, I'm fighting. Like,
yeah.
I was like, that was one of the first times I was just like, I will walk out. I'll do it. It happened several times in this film. It was like I threatened to walk out, but like so they he puts the bar over the door, and he was like, that was convenient. And then they look over. And they see that there's a boat. Yeah. And like this is when Ellie realized it was like this was the hackers. I can't remember his name, but it was just like this was the hackers' plan.
Yeah,
like to escape. So it was just like he has like a But she was like, "How are we gonna get down? There must be like a rope or something." And Aiden notices there's like some structure next to the
boat, and on the dock there's like a covering and stuff on it.
Yeah,
that must be like.
And he was like, "We're supposed to jump," and she was like, "No, I can't jump. I can't." So he literally, like an asshole, he takes because like at some point, she had Alfie the cat on her in the backpack, and one guy shot the glass, but Alfie was fine.
Yeah, and
so like he pulls out Alfie and just drops the cat over the side of the building. And he lands on the structure next to the boat, and it was just like there's just padding. So it was like, yeah, you're supposed to jump.
Yeah.
So they jump, and they escape. Whatever. Jesus fucking Christ, this movie.
Yeah.
And then I think they go to a hotel to recuperate or whatever. Mm-hmm. And Ellie takes a shower, and this is where we see this is where I got the kind of the what was gonna happen. Yeah. But like she's taking a shower, she's looking in the mirror like this is crazy, whatever. And she sees herself as Argylle, as Henry Cavill.
Yes. Yeah.
And like he's like, giving her a pep talk and stuff like that. And my friend, like Natalie, who I went with or whatever, she was saying how there was a surprise, like the whole, I think the part of the marketing tool of this film was like, who's going to turn out to be the real Argylle type of thing, right? Because we know that, Henry Cavill is playing a character from the book. Mm-hmm. So who's going to be like the real Argylle? So I leaned over and I said, if the real Argylle was her all along, I'm about to fight. I'm walking out.
Because if that's the thing, like you're seeing this reflection. So what was this reflections? Why are we seeing Ian as the Argylle at some points too? Yeah.
But yeah, so she leaves the bathroom, whatever, and then Aiden goes inside, and he goes in the shower and he makes a call, and then Alfie, like, because they kind of bonded while Ellie was in the shower, and so Alfie goes to go into the bathroom. So the cat opens the door just a bit, and then like Ellie goes to get the cat, and she hears Aiden on the phone, and he's like, I got her or whatever. It was like, I'll bring her to you. It was like, but Elly Conway needs a bullet in the head or some shit like that. And so she gets scared. She grabs her thing. She grabs the cat and she leaves. She calls her mom, and she's like, I don't have my passport. I'm in London, because her parents were like worried because she was taking a train to Chicago and she never showed up. And so her mom, her mom just tells her, "Oh, we're getting on a flight. We're coming to London."
Yeah.
And so they meet at a hotel or whatever. And so she goes to the hotel to meet her parents, and this is where we get another. I guess maybe this is the first plot twist or whatever.
The first big twist, I'd say.
Yeah. And so when she gets to the room, her mom opens the door and she was like, "Your dad is out getting ice."
Mm-hmm.
And then so she's telling her mom everything that's happened, the fact that like she's people are coming after her because of the book, the division, and stuff like that. And then there's a knock on the door, and like Elly's very paranoid because of the fact that obviously dealing with all the spy shit. She was like, "Don't open the door." And like her mom was like, "It's just your fucking father. Like, relax." And like she opens the door, and her father is Ritter.
Yeah, you see Ritter walk in, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
And I was like, "Okay, I fuck with this."
Yeah.
And so like she gives Ritter the notebook from the hacker, and like it's like just VPNs and like just all this information about the stuff like in order to find the master file. And before they can do anything with it, what's his name? Aiden comes in and holds the Ritter at gunpoint.
Yeah.
And then like Ellie's like trying to like protect her mom, and then like her mom like kind of wraps her arm around her and like holds a gun to her head.
Yeah. Well, first like holds her as a second, and then like do it, and then her mom is like, "Oh, I'll put a gun on her head. Don't think I won't," and then pulls a gun and like, "Oh fuck, yeah."
And it was a good, but it was like what pissed me off. It was the slow motion because it was like they slow mode Ellie turning her head to the gun. And I was like, "Is this a real reason to do slow?"
Yeah, that's true. That was kind of silly. This twist was cool. Of her parents being bad, I was like, "Oh, interesting. Okay, cool."
Yeah, I think honestly, with her dad being Ritter, I think it could have been they could have done something with that to make this movie like really, really good.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So like her mom like holds her at gunpoint or whatever, but like she freaks out seeing the gun, and so in that freak out, like I think she like just bumps her mom a bit, and Aiden shoots the mom, and then they escape.
Yeah. Why he didn't shoot Ritter, the world will never know. Yeah.
And so they get down to they get outside the hotel, and Ellie realizes that they forgot that Alfie, the cat.
Yeah.
And he was like, I mean, you can go back up there, but like they're just gonna kill you or whatever. And like so she realizes that like her mom and her dad like betrayed her, so they're not like, because Aiden says those aren't your parents. Like, what do you like? But she's breaking down because of the fact that like everything she knows is a lie or whatever. And Alfie was like the only thing that's real. Yeah. And so she decides to leave the cat. They drive. And like so, yeah, we get another like she looks in like a mirror, or like a window or some shit like that, and sees Argylle again. And I was like, he just tells her everything's gonna be all right. So she gets in the car with Aiden. They drive to somewhere in France.
Yeah, France.
Yeah. And he was like, I'll basically get you the answers that you need or whatever. So they drive to a winery that's owned by Samuel Jackson, who plays what's his name?
Alfie or Alfred. Yeah.
Alfie, yeah. Who was the former head of the CIA. And this is where we learn that this. Oh my god! This is when the twist started pissing me off. Yeah. And so like he shows her that her name isn't Elly Conway, but she's a former CIA agent that was like working with the division. Yes. Her name was Agent Rachel Kyle. Yeah. And he shows her on the screen. It just says Agent R. Kyle. Yeah. And when I tell you, the second time I almost walked out.
Like just that meme of the guy just like ripping off his headset, like, come on.
It's just like, it reminded me of like the twist in fucking Harry Potter when like Voldemort like switched the name to Tom Riddle, and it was like, I am Voldemort. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I was so because it was like R. Kyle. That's get the fuck, go home. Yeah. Go. You don't deserve to write any longer. Like, I was so fucking mad. But yeah, so yeah, she was the agent or whatever. And what happened was like some.
So question.
Yes.
Was it in fact her that did the whirly durly with Dua Lipa in the club? That's been bugging me since this fucking movie started.
And that's what I'm saying. It's when you switch, because even you answer that question, even the last scene with like the link to the Kingsman.
Yes.
It was just like, that's not, because you got to realize she's writing as her, like, so this is her doing all of this.
Yeah.
So like, it doesn't, even when like they show scenes of like her in the same suit that Henry Cavill was wearing, I was just like, that's not it doesn't fit right.
Yeah. Though, again, this is a canon question, so whatever we come up with is now canon in the Argylle universe. Was it in fact Elly as agent?
Oh, that's what Natalie said too. Is like, because remember she kisses what's his name as the boat drives away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like where Henry Cavill and John Cena just kissing on the boat. With Kieran driving away.
They might have. Like, canon question right now. Are they? I'm going to say yes. I'm saying yes. It wasn't.
It's one of those things. Like I said, it's like one of those things where like it looked cool, but it doesn't make sense.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
And like it'd be like you open too many, like there's too many questions now.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to look cool. But anyway, sorry, back to the movie. So like, yeah, she's Agent Kyle. She was the one that got in contact with the with the hacker or whatever, and then something went south. And the division found her because I think she was like working with the division, but like she was like a kind of like double cross type of thing. The division found her, brainwashed her.
Yeah. Also, at this time too, we find out Aiden is Wyatt as well.
Yeah.
So Aiden is Wyatt.
Yeah, he's not. He's not Argylle. He's Wyatt.
Yeah. Yep.
And so the division found her, brainwashed her, and they brought in her mom, the woman that is her mom. I can't remember her name.
Vogel.
It was
Vogel or something.
Vogel. Yeah.
Vogel. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they brought her in because she's like a psychotherapist or some shit like that. So they brainwashed her, gave her certain triggers, and we're trying to find, and they inspired her to write.
Yeah.
So that she would give them the location of the master, the file, or whatever.
And real quick, this is what I was talking about in the movie, like with Matthew Vaughn's use of color. Like in this scene when they're talking about that, it's black and white while they're brainwashing her, but then like the car they're showing her is yellow and something is red. And I'm like, what's the point of these colors right now? Like, why? Like, it doesn't really, like, I guess from a stylistic perspective, but style without substance just is kind of like, meh. Yeah, but yes. But, yeah.
So they realize that she slowly starts remembering, like, her and Aiden, like, former partners and stuff like that. And they realize that they need to go to some the Arabian desert or something like that.
Secret keeper who arrived.
Yeah, because they need she left the no. So we get a flashback where like she paid the hacker. He told her that like the file wasn't there. It was he gave it to the keeper.
Yes,
and only she would be the one. She's the only person that could that will be able to get the information from the keeper. And then she killed the hacker, and then the hacker had a kind of like a.
Well, actually, no, we didn't find this out till later. Like when she killed the hacker, she does kill the hacker.
We're speeding through.
yeah, it's fair. It's fair. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So then they go to the Arabian desert to meet the hacker or whatever.
The secret keeper,
and she's still like she's nervous because like she doesn't have all her memories back yet. So like she still sees herself as Elly and not Rachel.
Yes.
And this is where, like, to loosen her up, they dance, and we get another, like, the whirly move or whatever. But then like she goes,
Aiden doing it. It's not her, even though we know she can do it because she and Dua Lipa did the whirly dirly. This is Aiden doing the whirly dirly first.
So many questions, dude. But yeah, so they're about to kiss or whatever. While they're on the dance floor, and like the guy said, like some guard comes up and says, "That's public displays of affection aren't allowed here."
Yeah.
And then like so he says the keeper will see you now. So she goes to see the keeper, and like the keeper is like questioning her because he was like, you look like Rachel, but like I don't think you are.
Yeah. And
like so you see this turn where like she goes from like very coy and like nervous and anxious to like this very much like a skilled, CIA like agent.
Yeah.
And so like she convinces the keeper that she is Rachel's like so the keeper gives her the silver bullet.
The keeper alludes to like that she and Agent Argylle had some kind of romantic interest at some point in time or something. So which you said when there was no public displays of affection, I think the keeper just didn't want to see it because she was jealous. That's what I'm out there. But yeah.
And so like she gets the silver bullet, which is a flash drive with all the like kind of a dossier on all the the wrongdoings of the division.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, the keeper says, like, you can use my computer or whatever. And so she looks in the computer, like, so she looks at the flash drive or whatever, and like she's like seeing like different pictures of different agents, and then like she sees something that, you know, she starts freaking out or whatever.
Yeah.
But we don't see it as an audience. And then like she goes downstairs to Aiden, and as she goes downstairs, what's her name? Voller comes in,
Yeah.
like the woman that was pretending to be her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I guess, do they capture them?
Yep. So they capture them at this point because they take it up, then they go up to grab tea, and then they all get like drugged.
Oh yeah. So they capture them. They have tea.
Yeah.
And
this is also where we get the reveal that Argylle was working for the division the whole time, and that's why when Wyatt, you know, Aiden put his thing in the coffee immediately, Argylle was like not sure because Argylle was still working, and this is also, I think, we find out that Argylle killed the, you know, hacker as well, and everyone's like, she's one of the best assets that the division has. So she was kind of playing all sides. It looked like, maybe even on the division more, but yes,
so they drink tea or whatever, but the tea is just laced with sleeping medicine. So they pass out and they all wake up. They wake up on this like ocean liner or some shit like that, and they're interrogating Aiden to get the information about, because they actually get the master key or whatever. Ritter burns it, you know, destroying the evidence. But now they need the location of Alfie, because they're saying that regardless of the information that's on the master key, as long as he's still alive, he's still going to try to expose the division for their wrongdoings. So they need his location, and Aiden knows that. And so Agent, like Rachel, now you know, fully embracing her former life or whatever, she's like, let me talk to him, whatever. And like, so she interrogates Aiden in front of Ritter and Vogel, and she's just saying, you know, we're gonna get the information out of you one way or another, yada yada yada. And then he gives a speech about how, like, even though like he knew that she was working with the division, he felt in his heart that she was going to double cross the division once she got the master file and exposed them or whatever. And she just denies it, and then she shoots him or whatever. And then, like, initially Ritter's upset, but she was like, I think I can find Alfie. So she goes, because she starts remembering, like, where they were, based on like a license plate. Sorry,
I might have missed. You did say that she shot Aiden, right?
Yeah, she shot him. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry. Yeah, I was like reading the plot to make sure I wasn't missing anything as well. But
so she shoots Aiden, and then she goes to look up where Alfie's located. And based on his license plate that she remembered, she finds it, and then she finds the location, and then this is where we get another twist where, like, she, instead of I guess sending some like troops or like a bomb or some shit like that, she sends him the master file, and she realized, like, this is where you realize she reveals that she was double crossing the division.
No, she's double crossing the double crossers.
Yeah.
All right, because you really.
Oh my!
What a twist! Yeah.
I just wanted to know which way I'm going. Okay, because clearly it's not forward.
Yeah.
And so she she tries to send Alfie the master file, but she needs fucking authorization from Ritter.
Yeah.
And so it's like she knocks out Voller, which was, Bryce Dallas Howard is not an action like star. Like, so just like a lot of the times where like she's doing action things, it was just hilarious. But also she beat up Bryan Cranston and fucking Catherine O'Hara. Okay, they're very, no disrespect, but they're older human beings. Okay? they're not taking much to knock them out. Whatever. So she grabs her cat because Ritter had taken her cat after they escaped. So she grabs her cat, and then she goes to the armory, and hides. And then at the same time, we see that Aiden is still alive.
Yeah.
And he knocks out he kills the two guys that were like watching him, and then he also heads to the armory.
Yeah.
And then like so they reconnect or whatever, and she says he's mad at her because she shot him, and then she was like, "You're still alive, aren't you? How is
Yeah.
that? How is it possible?" And she says that she shot him. Oh my god, fucking convoluted. But
Yeah.
she shot him like in the 2 centimeter space in the heart, where it was just like there's nothing there. So she missed his heart. It went through and through. And when she took like some tracking device off of him, she plugged the hole to stop the bleeding, and that's why he was still alive. And she said that she got that hint or whatever from one of her readers that sent that to her, like that was possible
Because like an email, like an anonymous
because she mentioned that in books, because Kira dies in the book. Like this is all the way back in the first scene. Kira died in the book. She was also like a member of their team, like their actual team or whatever, that died in Greece, like when they went to capture Lagrange or whatever. So like she was trying to figure out a way to bring back Kira in book 5, and that's how she was possibly going to do it, or whatever. And so they work together because they need to get to the server room to send the file to what's his name, to Alfie or whatever. And this is where you get this scene where like so they're hunkered down in the armory, which I feel like so many movies do this, where like the henchmen are like waiting outside of. They're in a fucking armory. I need y'all to back all the way the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like what armory is, right?
Yeah, don't let them open the door. Just start doing shit. There's so many things you can do. Yeah.
It's like sitting outside of an armory with a pistol. Oh, that's cute. They're in a fucking armory.
Yeah, they have every weapon in the entire fucking thing right now. Come on, guys.
Stupidest shit to me. But anyway. So this is where we get the scene where it's like they open the door, they throw out a bunch of smoke, and then they're just shooting all of the
and all the smoke is in different colors and like red and
they're like
green
dancing and like fucking passing each other like magazines.
Yeah. But so like with this scene too, something that I thought was like kind of weird is then like while they're doing this, and like okay, it's a decently interesting scene. It did kind of drag on a little bit, but okay, you're kind of like cool with the colors. But when Ritter is like, give me thermal imaging of what's going on, he sees a completely different thing. Like, what's going on in the scene is like they're doing the whirly durly, and like,
and the images are back to back or whatever.
Yeah, and then he sees, and they're just back to back normally. I was like, so is this also fake? Like, what's real now?
Is this live feed?
Yeah, they just exactly. So like, the scene kind of went on too long, but it was kind of cool with like all the smoke, and it was like, oh, purple and red hearts instead of with the smoke.
I think it was cool for a minute, and then it was like it just dragged on. Yes. Anyway, so like they shoot, like they kill most of the gunmen or whatever, and then they jump in the vents. They make their way to the server room or whatever, but they realize they need Ritter's retinal scan, and fucking what happens? Alfie jumps out of his case and just scratches up Ritter's face.
Ritter comes with Clementine. It's like, here we go. And then Alfie jumps out. It was like the most anticlimactic way for this man to die. I'm like, okay, so he's been the big bad, and this is what you have happen to him. Yeah. Fucking stupid. Yeah. And actually, well, technically this scene happened before was the fucking ice skating, which
I wasn't sure
the ice skating happened first, but yes.
Okay. But yeah, so really quick, before they make it to the server room, they're holed up in another room or something like that, and it was just like this is when Ritter sent. Oh yeah, you're right, because Ritter sends his number 2 or whatever to handle them. Yeah, and like they realized whatever room they're in, it was like they're shooting like certain vats, and it was just like a bunch of oil is on the floor. And earlier in the movie when we were at the book signing or whatever, she's the girl asked her like, how do you find the time to write? And she says, well, after my skating accident or whatever, like that's when she found time or whatever. And she as they're about to like kiss, because they realize they're out of fucking ammo and stuff like that, she was like, was the skating thing real about her past? And they're like, was. So she takes 2 knives, fashions them on the bottom of her boot, and then starts skating in the oil, killing all. And I was just like, once again, possibly look cool. Yeah. Too silly to be taken like to be funny.
It was two things for me. It was a little too silly, but just thinking about it right now, though, if this didn't happen just after another long fight gun
Yeah,
scene, maybe that would have been good. But you have to pick. I think you should have picked one. Like pick
yeah.
one or the other.
Hmm.
Pick the smoke or pick the ice skating, and that's all you have. Because otherwise, it's just way too damn
Yeah.
long now. And I'm like, come on, yo, I got places to be. I got nowhere to be. But yeah, exactly.
I don't know why that's my favorite excuse, even though I don't. This is funny. Oh my God, kids! Come on now.
I'm like, hey, I'm sitting in this comfy chair. I want to be sitting on my comfy couch. All right, I got things to do right now. Right?
Yeah. So the ice skating scene, they finish the rest of the henchmen or whatever. If she finishes off the rest of the henchmen, they go to the server room where Ritter comes with Clementine, the shotgun, but Alfie scratches his eyes out, so they're not able to use his retinal scan. So they need to go to the to the top of to the deck of the boat to send out the file from there. And I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ!
Yeah. I'm like, come on, guys,
save it on a fucking floppy, like. But anyway, so yeah, they go to the fucking top of the boat and like they find some computer up there to send the file. So like we see Sam Jackson just watching a Lakers game as one does.
I thought you'd like that. Yeah.
I was so focused on that damn game. I was like, come on, no, the movie. But yeah, so Sam Jackson gets an alert and he's finally getting the file. But in movie, in classic movie standpoint, he's getting it a percentage at a time.
Yep. Yeah.
And so Ritter's dead, but the other big bad is Vogel or whatever. So she comes up, she takes this little music box, which was another trigger from when she had brainwashed Rachel. Yeah. And so she cranks the music box and like she says some like keywords or whatever, very Winter Soldier style. Very like fucking, what is it, Manchurian Candidate shit. Yeah. And so she activates Agent Kyle or whatever. And so like they start, as she activates her, she starts fighting Aiden, and then like she stops the file transfer or whatever. And so it's like back and forth, like she's turning it on, turning it off.
Yeah.
And
we see right as all we need to do is stop the music box, and Aiden just gives up what? Yeah. Like, he just gives up at the end. He's just like, I'm not gonna fight you. I'm like, dude, like
that was kind of dumb. Like,
yeah, it was so dumb. He's just like, I'm not gonna fight you.
I think they were trying to push this, like, I mean, and it's been done to death, but it was just like, it's the woman he loves, so he had to watch it because it was like another thing you found out real quick. They had the division sponsored this woman's writing career to find this fucking fuck. This woman wrote 4 books, which meant that they budgeted this. Yeah. It was like this movie. Oh, it has so many questions at the end. Yeah. It was like so she was in that trance for 5 years until Aiden would come to find her. So she wrote a book a year. Jesus fucking Christ.
Right, good for her.
And the division is like, all right, we need editors. We need to find a publisher. Yeah. Yeah. Why did you just keep this dummy in a room? Why don't you let her out into the world, like to write a book? The fuck are you doing?
Yep, a little roundabout way of doing things for sure, but yeah. But yeah,
it was just the funniest shit to me to think about it. Like somebody was in there, like reading her book, like I don't know. I don't like this ending. Like, sir, I have real work.
That was their job. They're like, oh, so you're part of the division, a real spy espionage thing. What do they have you do? I read books and edit them.
God, I should. Made me laugh. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He's giving up. He's on the ground. He's about to stomp his head, right? And right before she stomps on his head, Vogel gets shot. Right. And it was just like the person that has a mask on, she pulls the mask down and you find out that it's Kira or whatever, who, like we said earlier, was like an actual agent that they used to work with. And like, first of all, she just comes in and exposits shit. It was she was just like, she survived getting shot because of the fact that like she did the exact same thing that was in the email. Like it hit in 2 centimeters, like it went through and through. They And I was just like, oh my God, really?
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
Who asked for this?
I'm like, great. I'm so happy you're alive. Yay! Yeah, like
So yeah, so they send the file to Alfie. They escape the oiler, and then they blow it up. Which I feel like is it another Exxon Valdez
I
situation?
know,
Did
right?
they
It's
just
just
fill the ocean with
smart
oil?
everywhere. Yeah, think of the turtles. Damn it! All right, how dare
It's
you?
one of those things where, like, cool, it looked cool,
Yeah,
but it was a fucking boat full of oil.
yeah. Like y'all are monsters. So think about that. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, so we jump to maybe like a few months later or whatever.
Wait, that was an awkward as shit kiss. What it looked like when
Yeah,
dude,
yeah,
that
but I
looked
think it's
weird.
because of the fact that it was John Cena and Henry Cavill doing it, so they had
Oh,
to
right.
mirror it.
And that's okay. Yeah, not actually Rockwell, and yeah. Seems like a lot of tongue very quickly for that kiss. Where they just, and I was like, whoa, whoa.
It's
Especially
like how they used to kiss in like in the 20s in the movies, where it was just like two faces mushed together. You're
Yeah.
gonna take my face into your face.
They're like, that's nice. That's romantic.
That's love, baby. But yeah, so in the movie we see Ellie at another a book signing or whatever,
Mhm.
where she's apparently read the entire novel to this group of
Yep.
people.
Again, she just likes reading her novels to people. People sit through
So
that.
it's like book 5 or whatever, and some girl from the right side, sorry, the left side again.
Yeah, they don't
I
think
will point out,
that.
asked her like what happened to the people in the book. So she says that Kira, who for some reason, even at the end of the book, when she was like book 4, she was like, who was a hacker that was so smart that could have been Steve Jobs, but decided to work for and it was like,
Yeah.
who says that as an introduction?
Yeah, right. I'm like, okay, like cool.
But yeah, so Kira took her whatever technology she had patented and working for the division, became a billionaire. Fucking Alfie was able to expose the division, take out the rest of the operatives or whatever, and like get his name back because he was blackballed from the CIA.
Mhm.
And then Wyatt and Argylle are forever partners. So
Yep.
and so we see what's his name, Aiden sitting in the front row with Alfie the cat.
Yeah.
And then the end of the movie, it was just like a last guy raises his hand, asks a question, and it's Henry Cavill in a terrible Jerry curl wig or something.
Yeah. Jerry Curl mullet, thing
With
going on.
mullet, and then I think he has like something in
lip
his,
in. Yeah, he's
yeah.
a ridiculous Southern accent with a lip in, a tobacco, and you're like,
and it was like I don't know what they were trying to like. What they were, I get the cameo of it, but it was like, what does it mean in the story?
so there's a real Argylle. So there's Agent Argylle, and there's
The person, or like the person that she was envisioning actually exists, or whatever.
I guess
Maybe not the eight, like because she was Argylle,
no,
like the person that she was in, whatever.
yeah,
And in the mid credit scene, we get like a shot of the Kingsman bar,
yeah,
and like this guy goes in and it's like says he's in trouble. No, he orders a drink or whatever,
yeah,
and the guy's like, "This is we don't serve that here."
yeah.
And then like it basically is a code word. He gives him a code word. He gets a box with a gun in it or whatever, and then he says that his name is Argylle, and then it zooms out and it was just like basically that was the first book in her series or whatever, Argylle.
Yeah.
And then like the movie
understood
coming
that better than me. I saw all of this, and maybe I just saw it and got upset, so I just turned my brain off. I was like, I refuse to understand what the fuck's going on now. I don't want to. And I just
it's funny. Like I watched this mid credit scene standing up. I refused to sit back down. I was on my way out, and then it came on, and then I was just like, I'm not sitting back down. Fuck this.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey,
yeah, that's the end of the movie.
That's the movie, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We are the two Meddling Kids. What we always like to do at the end of every movie is just go back to original rankings. Mike, you gave it a 2 out of 5. Would you like to change anything, or?
I could be mean, but I'm just gonna stick with the 2. Like I could go lower, but it was I like I said, this movie had a lot of potential. I'm curious if he's like the guy who wrote this.
Mm-hmm.
What other things because I think especially after doing the podcast, it was just like I realized so often audiences blame the actors first, right, then the director, because those are the the people out front.
Yeah.
But I'm always curious as to either the studio's interference or maybe the writers as well. Like just like to take a look, because it was like this movie has such potential, and I think they're trying to like marry it with the Kingsman. So like obviously we might get a collab with that later, like but it was just like I don't know. I just really did not enjoy this movie.
Well,
like,
the writer.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say the right. I just looked it up. He wrote Ice Age Continental Drift in 2012, so it's not
There it
his
is.
fault. All right, so like so he's a mastermind. All right, so it's
Is
not
his
his
last
fault.
name Fucks?
Yeah, Jason Fuchs or Jason Fuchs or Fuchs,
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah, he wrote from best known for Ice Age Continental Drift, Pan 2015. I haven't seen it.
Oof.
The Peter Pan thing, and Wonder Woman 2017.
Okay, so Wonder Woman, he got okay, fine.
Yeah.
Jesus, goddamn Christ,
They gave
Jesus.
him another chance after Pan. They're just like, all right, for Wonder Woman. But yeah.
I was about to say, yeah, you can't do Ice Age and then Pan and then still work in the industry. God damn, you know how bad Pan was?
I do not. I have no idea how bad that was.
Anyway, but yeah, so I could be mean and take it out, but I'm just gonna leave it at a 2. Like there were moments I did have fun. Like I said, I'll always love Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
For most of the movies that he's done. So, but yeah, I just I don't know. This movie it went all over the place. Like I said, there's more questions and answers to this, but it was just like I think it's frustrating. So
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm gonna say 2. Leave it at that. What about you?
Yeah, I had a 2.5 at first. I'm gonna drop it to a 2. I would say if you look at the first half of this movie, I might even be like 3.5 to me. But then you look at that back half, and that's like 1 over. So I was like, yeah. So I'm dropping it to a 2. There are some redeeming qualities for this movie for sure. You can tell people put a lot of time, effort, and energy into it, but it did kind of just not stick the landing as much as I would have wanted it to. So 2 for me. But yeah, again, thank you so much for listening, everybody. We so appreciate it. We are the Two Meddling Kids. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can find us at Two Meddling Kids on Twitter and Instagram. Or you can email us at twomeddlingkids@gmail.com. Mike, how can they reach out to you?
On Instagram at Days from Legendary.
Love it. And if you'd like to reach out to me, I am at EdHunt77 on Twitter and Instagram. And my comic handle is hunt.comics. Would love to have you check that out too. But until then, everybody, see you next week with a brand new movie.
Bye.
See you soon.
Yeah.